Things are about to get exciting. WrestleMania season is here, and Elimination Chamber is in just a couple of days, and we are here to predict it. What's going on, guys? Happy Thursday to you. Like I said, we're here to predict WWE Elimination Chamber 2023, which comes to us live this Saturday, and of course is headlined by the big Universal Championship match, or WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, the winner of which will go on to WrestleMania to face Cody Rhodes in the main event. And there has been a lot of talk and a lot of speculation over the past few months as we have watched the Bloodline storyline unfold. And now we are about at the climax, and we're going to see exactly where all the pieces are going to fall heading into WrestleMania. In terms of the predictions we're going to get in here today, there's actually only one match I'm a little bit wishy-washy on and iffy on, and that's the men's chamber. Everything else, I kind of feel like I know where they're going to go, or I got a good indication, or we have a good indication, I should say, of where they're going to go for WrestleMania, but not exactly sure, and it should be fun to speculate about the outcomes of some of these matches and what that could mean going into WrestleMania. But I did give these predictions some thought. We talked about this a lot on Monday night as well when we were watching Raw, some ideas about Balor and Edge and Lashley and Brock and things like that. But, you know, organizing all my thoughts and getting them out here in a predictions video was something that I wanted to spend a little bit of time to think about. And like I said, I'm a little bit stumped on one match. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say about this and what you guys think is going to happen this Saturday. Speaking of this Saturday, we're going to live react to this sucker, man. I'm going to be up here to react to the Elimination Chamber, and then we will hang out after the show and do a review all on the same live stream. The link to that is actually already in the description below, and it's up on the channel as well. And I just tweeted it a minute ago. So save that for Saturday. We'll be here a couple of minutes before the main show starts. We won't be here for the kickoff. And we'll react to the whole thing because I think what unfolds in these chamber matches and specifically in the main event is going to be really interesting to kind of react to and watch together. So that's the plan for this weekend, and we'll get into more of this week's festivities and videos here in a second. But let me just say hello to everybody and get my ducks in a row over here and make sure that you can see me and hear me. And we'll react. All right, we're looking good over here. Right on. Not sure how big of an audience we're going to get on a Thursday afternoon, but we're going to give this thing a shot here. I want to welcome Red Raven Rucker, Victor Colon, the Juliet Chaz Medeiros, Joshua Aparicio, Zayn G. We've got Victor Colon as well, rounding out some of the channel members. We also have Vash Starwin in the house, Jay Lambo. We've got Ben Espinoza is here. David Brown is here as well. Good to see you, my friend Joe Brill, the big guy, Matos 1489, Sonic Plays 64 is here. Good handful of you right off the bat before we get into Elimination Chamber. There's going to be not much else we're going to get into. Discuss a little bit of last night's Dynamite, but not much. And there's not a ton of wrestling news going on right now either, or at least no wrestling news that I thought necessary to really talk about in detail today. I thought we would primarily focus on the Elimination Chamber and our predictions. And since I was not here last night to watch AEW Dynamite with you guys, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But Dynamite was a pretty lackluster show, very rare, boring Dynamite. I was seeing a lot of the same comments on social media, even from the non-biased assholes, you know, without the AEW, you know, jagged stick up their ass. Just regular people like me who like wrestling were all saying the same things. Dynamite kind of sucks tonight. So I guess it was a good thing that I wasn't here to watch it. If I was going to miss a show, sounds like last night was a good one to miss. I did check out the results. I watched some of the highlights. I'd say about 60% of the highlights, and that's it. So I'm a little bit Dynamite illiterate tonight or today to discuss what happened last night, but I do at least know the results and, you know, maybe some of the issues that they might have had on last night's show being a little bit, you know, what do the kids say, mid or whatever? It's an AEW midamite. I did see Alvarez and I think Thurston did post some ratings. I think they were just over 800,000, 820-ish something. So as I've said many times about ratings, when it comes to Dynamite, I don't really give a shit what their ratings is as long as it's within 800 and 1.1 million. If they're in there, I'm not really freaking out either way. If it goes above 1.1, I'm going to go, holy shit, that's awesome. If it falls below 800,000, I'm going to be like, oh, that's not good. And so far, I have not seen that happen. So the ratings was what it was last night. Doesn't sound like the show was all that great, but we did see the return of Christian Cage, who attacked Jungle Boy. Christian appears to be healthy now, so we can finally pay off that angle. I do think they did some things right. MJF stuff is always great. I did like to sit down with Wardlow as well. And we had, good bloody tornado tag with Mox and Claudio and Roosh and Vance. And Mark Briscoe is officially All Elite, which was also good. So the show wasn't all bad. It's just it felt like some of it fell flat. And the main event, not many people were speaking very highly of. The only thing I have not caught in terms of last night's Dynamite is I did not see or hear the Max Caster rap. Now, unfortunately, the wrestling world lost Jerry Jarrett just a couple days ago. Jerry Jarrett has passed away. Of course, he is the father of Jeff Jarrett. And Jerry, been in the business a very, very, very long time. And he's got a lot of influence and is a legend and is beloved by so many people, especially, some of the older wrestlers that might have worked in his territory or worked for him or passed through or had some sort of a relationship with him. Maybe even when he was in WWE, a lot of the WWE talent from that mid-90s era when he was there during the steroid trial has come out and shared love and their memories of Jerry Jarrett as well. But I didn't really hear what Caster said. It sounds like he praised Jerry, put down Jeff, which honestly I got no problem with. Jeff Jarrett, a wrestling family like his, I think with some of the angles they used to do back in his dad's territory back in the day, some of the real angles that they would do with Jerry and his son, and the blindings and the attacks and the brutality and all of that stuff. I don't think a rap by a wrestler is something that the Jarrett family would really get offended by. So Jeff Jarrett was out there. He was working despite the loss of his father just a couple of days ago, and I don't think anybody crossed any lines there, regardless of what Max may or may not have said in his rap. But I didn't catch it, just saw a lot of the comments on it. So as you can see, I'm a little bit out of the loop in last night's Dynamite. Didn't really get a great look of the show like I normally do, but it doesn't sound like it was that great. Also, Revolution is shaping up. The card for that is looking pretty good. And with an hour-long Iron Man match in the main event of that show, you got to wonder and place your bets on how many matches Tony Khan is going to book for Revolution. This is a company that doesn't really do 6-match cards, but with one match taking up a full hour of the show, only leaving you 3, assuming this is a 4-hour show, I'm going to guess we're going to have 8 matches, possibly 9. I still think they're going to be able to squeeze in that many. Sometimes they do 12, 13, or 14, if you include the buy-ins a lot of times. But I think on the main card, they're still going to manage to get a minimum of 8. That's my belief for Revolution. So we shall see. The only other piece of wrestling news that I maybe wanted to discuss as it relates to Dynamite is that I did read up a little bit on that talent meeting. I think Fightful Select posted a report about this, a talent meeting to address some of the Thunder Rosa rumors in Heat in terms of her sandbagging, working stiff, that kind of thing. Apparently she even spoke to the talent. Don't know any of the details about that, how it went. Thunder Rosa, of course, is not back in the ring yet, but she is back with AEW on the road, going to be doing some Spanish commentary here and there while she still recovers from her injury, which apparently is her back. But there has been a lot of heat on her from talent, and she hasn't gotten along with a lot of people. A lot of talent even questioning the validity or the severity of her injury. I don't know if she's trying to lose her smile type of thing here, or if maybe Rosa just wanted to get away from it all and she made up the injury. If any of those allegations are floating around, all that apparently was addressed. Hopefully it can all get worked out, because Thunder Rosa is a great talent, and there was a time in AEW where it really felt like she was the most over woman they had there. And when she won that title, that year-long build with her and Britt Baker, that was all fantastic. But as been the case with a few instances behind the scenes in AEW, there was some heat there and some issues, and it's nice to hear that at least these things are being worked out. I think that's something Tony Khan needs to do and nip in the bud from now on, is if he sees a conflict, try to resolve it. That way you don't have another all-out situation. Had CM Punk and the Elite and Hangman Page and all those guys gotten together ahead of All Out and worked out all these things, maybe everybody would still be in the ring wrestling right now and everything would be kumbaya. But in the future, hopefully, these are some issues that can just be worked out, or at least tried to be smoothed over to where everybody can proceed and move forward professionally. That's the hope there. But like I said, I did not do a whole lot of research on the wrestling news for this episode, because we'll have plenty of time to get into that this weekend. This is mostly going to be about Elimination Chamber. So I will go back here to the chat, see if there's anybody else chiming in, and we will start predicting this show. I don't expect to be up here streaming for very long. Yeah, rest in peace to Jerry Jarrett. That was a sad death to learn of. Especially, we've had a few of those lately. The Genius. Who else recently passed? that was kind of a big deal. I can't think of him right now. But yeah, that was another major loss. And, seeing, I guess maybe I'm thinking of Jerry Lawler, who had the stroke. Of course, we didn't lose Jerry Lawler, but a lot of these legends, we're losing them day by day here, and it's really sad. And Jerry Jarrett was a big one. He was a big one for sure. But Jordan Smith says Elimination Chamber is a predictable show, but it should still be a great show. I agree. We talked about that a lot on Monday when we were kind of talking about Cody and Sami, and that promo between them on Monday was just superb, terrific stuff. And from where we sit, it doesn't look like WWE is making any changes based on the success of the Bloodline angle, the success of Sami, how he's gotten himself over. And instead of making changes to the storyline direction and pivoting or doing a 180 or going in a different direction or whatnot, instead Triple H is doing what I predicted that he would do, and that is if he wants to keep his WrestleMania plans in place, then he needs to book the lead into that, the build up to that, as satisfying for the fans as possible. And I think Triple H could make it right for us. So if there are people that have the opinion or truly believe 100% that Sami Zayn should be the one to take down Roman Reigns, and you're going to have those fans there, I think Triple H is going to book Elimination Chamber in a way to where those fans are going to come away satisfied, even if Sami doesn't win the title. And I'll lay out my scenarios there of how Sami could do that, what he could even say to Cody perhaps this Monday on Raw, which is an idea that I tweeted about yesterday. And I said for a couple of weeks now that I'm just going to trust that Triple H isn't a damn idiot like Vince was. And if Vince gets an idea in his head and what he wants to do and the direction he wants to go, he's just going to do that regardless of what the fan response is. Triple H is a lot smarter than that. He's a lot more dialed in to that type of thing. And I think he's somebody that would recognize the potential problems here. Wait, we don't want to sabotage Cody. We need to make sure that we book all of this to where everybody wins. Sometimes that's impossible. But I don't think, even though there are similarities between Daniel Bryan in 2015 or 2014 when all that was going on, I don't think it's the same thing, because WWE's stubbornness was really shining through during that time. And they didn't have, until they did the whole Occupy Raw shit on Raw with Daniel Bryan, the fans were very, very combative. They were very, they rejected a lot of what WWE was doing. We were not enjoying Monday Night Raw very much, where the past 2 weeks on Raw, they have done an excellent job of not only having Cody and Heyman talk us into WrestleMania, talk fans into the building with that promo last Monday. They had Cody and Sami talk us into two buildings, Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, to where now as a fan, you are genuinely curious. They've made you, hopefully, at least for some fans, I'm sure some are just stubborn and they want what they want, but they've now made it to where I think a lot of fans are genuinely curious and they want to see where it's going to go, instead of believing it should only go one way, and if it goes any other way other than the way that they want, they're going to flip their shit. That's not the way it feels anymore, and that's the way it felt with Daniel Bryan all those years ago. Now it feels like, yeah, sure, you might have a lot of fans that want Sami Zayn to win, or hey, the top angle, the top match at WrestleMania should be the most over babyface and the most over heel. If anybody has that old school mentality, even that mentality, I think, are probably willing to say, there's still ways to book this to where everybody can be satisfied. And I think that's what Triple H has set the chamber up for in the main event, where I feel like the outcome is predictable, like maybe the person walking out with the championships is predictable, but the finish isn't predictable at all. I think we could see a dusty finish here for sure. I think we could see a dusty finish at WrestleMania as well. I think both are possible, but this is in Montreal. This is going to be a highly dramatic, highly emotional main event. I'm excited as hell to watch it with you guys. It's going to feel a lot like the Royal Rumble when, the whole Sami beatdown happened and we watched that together. Oh my God, guys, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? That's why I want to watch it with you guys on Saturday. I think it'll create some good content for Bald Guy Wrestling. But that's going to be amazing. And I think with all of the moving pieces here, Jey Uso is going to have an influence. Kevin Owens is probably going to show up as well. I don't think they're going to keep Kevin Owens out of Montreal. I think they're saving him for some sort of save or whatever, or maybe even coming down and helping Sami Zayn win the title. I don't know. I wouldn't rule that out yet either, but I feel a sense of excitement, not fear or nervousness, to where if this was Vince in charge, I would be convinced that he would completely fuck this up, completely. But with Triple H, I just trust him a little bit more. I just think that he's somebody that understands a little bit more of what the fans are thinking, even if he doesn't give a shit, or even if because Triple H isn't perfect. Triple H has taken craps on our heads plenty of times before. And I do think there's a part of Triple H that really likes to disappoint us and troll us a little bit. But that was before he was completely head of creative now, to where, his job is on the line. Putting on good creative means, the job security for him, because the ratings and the numbers and the morale and everything is going to be good. So Triple H has a real reason now to put the best show he can forward, not only for us, but for himself. So I think that Triple H is more understanding of that. And I think however they book this main event on Saturday, it's going to be really, really exciting. So we're going to be here to watch that together. Dustin, do you think Sami will get the last entrance of the night, or Reigns will enter last as champions usually do? I think Reigns has got to enter last. I think Sami entering first can have the very same effect. I don't think first or second will make any difference in Sami Zayn's pop, although I have been saying and advocating for Sami Zayn to come out to his old music. I think doing it in Montreal on Saturday would be an amazing moment for the crowd. But I almost think it would be more amazing if Sami got a special entrance at WrestleMania with that old theme. WWE might not have him come out to his old theme on either show, but if they don't, I think it's a big missed opportunity, because the fans would go nuts for that. Although, many fans might then hope that that theme is back, and it's back permanently. And if that's an old CFO's theme and WWE's trying to get away from that shit, maybe they're not going to do it for those reasons. But I just think WWE would be idiots if they did not have Sami Zayn come out to his old music at some point in the next 2 pay-per-views, because it would be an incredible moment. Good to see Zach Palgett in here as well. Andy Linnell, yeah, we're all looking for Jay. We know he'll be there. They have already written Jimmy Uso off of Elimination Chamber. Paul Heyman told him that the tribal chief requests that he stays at home because Jimmy has got some DWIs and he ain't allowed in Canada. So Jimmy won't be there. Jay, I guess, will be. And of course, like I said, Kevin Owens. And where will he fit? It feels like if Kevin Owens has not been on TV and he's going to make his return in Montreal with that ovation, how are you going to do that and still have Roman Reigns walk out of there as champion? So I do have my doubts that my prediction here later could be wrong. So we'll get into it in a minute. Brian's pseudonym here. They should separate the belts. Sami should get the Universal title and WWE, and Cody gets the WWE. Win-win. Yeah, I just think now going into WrestleMania, there has to be a reason to ununify these belts. And right now they don't have one unless they just pull something completely out of their ass. That's why I think if they separate the titles, a dusty finish is going to have to lead to that somehow. That they do something really wonky and crazy in Montreal or WrestleMania that leads to these belts being ununified. That definitely is possible. But I don't think Roman should take a loss ahead, like a loss before he loses to Cody type of thing. I think it's all or nothing for right now. I think if you separate the championships, maybe that comes after Roman drops both of the belts. Then once he does, maybe Cody cuts a promo and, pitches some idea to ununify these things, bring back the Winged Eagle, bring back the Big Gold. The Big Gold is a belt that his dad also has a lot of history with, the WWE Championship, that old physical belt that Cody apparently owns. He brought back the Classic IC all those years ago. It's right there for the Winged Eagle. I mean, if Cody was the one, imagine how over Cody would be with fans like me and maybe a lot of fans like you guys. If this dude brought back the Winged Eagle and the Big Gold, guys. And he just tells the WWE Universe Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. He comes out with both WWE belts, Medusas them bitches right in the trash, pulls out the Winged Eagle. This is your WWE Championship. Pulls out the Big Gold. This is your Universal Championship. And this is what we're doing going forward. Will that happen? Of fucking course not. Because if it does, you're not going to have your big ugly ass WWE logo all over the Super Bowl post-game shows. So that is a pipe dream. But it would be so cool if they did that. And I would be the biggest Cody fan alive. And if the Winged Eagle and the Big Gold came back into the WWE, I might never watch AEW again. Sorry, AEW. I love you. It's just, I might love those 2 belts more. Zayn G, good to see you, my friend. Welcome back. Thank you so much for that very generous $20 drop. I had still believed in what McMahon used to say in his interview with Costas, where he says to let the story play out instead of fans jumping the gun. Can the same be said about the Zayn situation? Yeah, of course, because I think with this situation and this storyline, things are planned out. And I don't think any fans are losing their patience here. I don't think fans are getting all up in arms. Sure, there's a lot of people, there might be people on the Cody camp and the Sami camp. I have seen that. But I haven't seen anybody with like super aggressive, want to tear somebody with the opposite opinions head off takes about this. Sure, some people might want Cody or might want Sami, but I haven't seen too many people insisting that that's the only way it can go and any other way is ridiculous. And that's the way a lot of fans feel about a lot of opinions. But I've actually been pleasantly surprised about how fans are kind of taking this. They're not getting so angry about it. And that tells me WWE's doing something right. That tells me that WWE, even though you might have fans who have opinions about this, regardless of what your opinion is, we're all curious to see what happens. And that's how you get interest. That's how you make money. That's how you get, ratings and numbers and pay-per-view buys and all that stuff. It's something AEW could work on with some of their stories. They've got some good stories, but they also have some half-told stories and some characters that you really don't know what their motivations are. I still don't know what the hell Saraya and Toni Storm are even doing, what they're trying to do. What is their goal? What's their motivation? Why are they doing what they're doing? We've heard no indication about that at all, and that's, something that they should work on. With WWE, we are now starting to tune in every week because we want to see what's going to happen with all of these players involved. And when the angle is over, think about how many people are going to be better at the end of it. Roman, of course, has come out a bigger star than WWE was forcing him into before he went heel. Jey Uso, dating all the way back to the Thunderdome days, has been making, a name for himself and could potentially set himself up for a singles run. Solo Sikoa has come in like a beast. Of course, Sami Zayn. 1 year ago, he's beaten up Wee Man, and now he's going to be involved in a major WrestleMania match, potentially even main eventing one of those two nights. So everybody has benefited from this Bloodline angle, and it's been terrific. But in terms of letting it play out, I wouldn't compare it to the Costas interview, because when Vince was saying that to Costas, I think Costas was showing the segment where Vince was making Trish strip. And he's like, how can you possibly justify that? And Vince is basically telling him, let the story play out. If you watch the end of it, I'm likely going to get what's coming to me at the end of it, is kind of the point he was making to Costas. I haven't seen people complaining about Sami, Roman, and Cody to the degree that Costas was complaining about Trish being stripped down. So that's the only comparison that I don't think is that valid. But other than that, I'm right with you, Zayn. I say let this play out. I think we're going to have a good result, not only at the end of Elimination Chamber, but the end of WrestleMania as well. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Oh, wow, William Pender, you got to see Lawler, Jimmy Hart, and Jerry Jarrett last year in Vegas. That's very cool. Let me see. I've met Lawler. I don't think I've met Jimmy Hart. I've not met Jimmy Hart. I've never met Jimmy Hart before, which is weird because he does so many conventions, but I don't really go to conventions. I'm not even sure if I'm going to go to WrestleCon yet. I'm going to go to WrestleMania. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I have not even decided what I'm going to do with my days before then. We're definitely going to do a fan meetup or channel meetup or something, but I might have to swing by that WrestleCon shit too. If you are going to LA, by the way, and you follow me on any sort of social media, other than Facebook, I suck at Facebook. Shoot me a message over on the Gram or on Twitter. If you want to meet up WrestleMania weekend, we're definitely going to be planning something for that. By the way, I would love some thumbs up. We got some low likes on this video right now, so please get those up for me so I don't look like a J-Brone. I'd appreciate it. Who's the next Super Chat coming in before we really start getting into these predictions? We're just kind of shooting the shit. It's a casual day. It's Casual Thursday here on the channel. Sure, we have some notes and we got a direction, but at the same time, I'm mostly just hanging out with you guys. King Bling Bling Blah. King Bling Blah, excuse me. Thank you very much for the $4.99. Do you book a false finish to get to that Sami win moment? Like the famous Y2J beating Triple H for the title in '99, match restarts, Roman wins, moments. They've done that before. I mean, Benoit even, he had it reversed. He was the heel doing that. He won the title from The Rock, and then they reversed it at Fully Loaded that year. Something like that. Oh, my God, the heat. You could start a riot in Montreal, the Montreal Screwjob 2, where you really fuck over Sami Zayn. He would have to win the title or something in a fluke, and then the ref comes in and reverses the decision or restarts the match, and then maybe that's when Jey Uso comes and costs Sami. I don't know. But again, if you do that, that means that we visibly see Roman Reigns' shoulders being pinned to the mat before he loses the titles. And I think when he's pinned, he should lose. So instead of maybe having Sami actually win the match, with a false finish, he just has Roman down and the referee's knocked out or something. Or, he basically has the match won. He has won, but there's no ref, or Jey Uso takes out the ref. That could be a great way. Maybe Jey Uso doesn't necessarily harm Sami. And as I'm thinking out loud, I'm thinking of this being a possible finish here. Jey, it's not like he's going to come out of this overnight. He was still very conflicted the last time he saw Sami on SmackDown. I mean, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? But the two of them, gave the little fist bump there. And Jey still seems like he doesn't know what he's going to do. So this either is all a complete ruse by Jey Uso, and he's going to reveal that he's always been on the side of the bloodline, and he's just been trolling Sami, which would seem odd. Jey does seem genuine in his feelings for Sami. Or it means that he's very conflicted. He doesn't want to have to make a difficult decision, so he's just going to have to. So maybe he's out there. Sami Zayn has Roman pinned. Maybe there's a ref bump. There's no referee. Sami Zayn gets Roman down. He's got Roman pinned. Jey Uso is in the ring. Another referee starts sprinting to the ring, and he counts 1, 2, and boom. Jey Uso super kicks the referee, knocks him out, stops him from counting 3. He doesn't hit Roman. He doesn't hit Sami. He hits the ref. He walks away, upset that he had to back his cousin. He didn't want to help. He didn't want to hurt Sami. So instead, he just took out the referee, which will prevent Sami from getting the 3 count. And then he's just going to trust that Roman Reigns is going to recover and put Sami Zayn down when another referee comes out. Or if the referee comes to, knows Jey kicked him, rings the bell, and Sami Zayn wins via disqualification. And if that's the case, it still tells that same story. Jey fucked Sami. Jey took his belt away, so Sami's going to take Jey's belts away from him with his buddy Kevin Owens. But if you book that, where does Kevin Owens play into that? He's going to have to come out there. His music is going to have to hit at some point, and the crowd's going to explode. I think of the January 4th, 99 Raw with Rock and Mankind. When Austin came down, I've mentioned this comparison a bunch of times. It could be Roman and Sami in the ring, just like Rock and Mankind. Austin's music hits, crowd goes nuts, comes in, hits The Rock with a chair. Owens could come in, hit Roman with a chair. Sami falls on Roman. Referee counts 3 as, Austin was flipping off McMahon, except it's Owens flipping off Paul Heyman. You could do the same thing here. But, again, this would all sound fine if WrestleMania wasn't the very next pay-per-view and we have so much set up there. So lots of stuff you could do, lots of scenarios, and that's what's fun about having main events and angles and storylines like this, is that you can literally go in a few different directions, and all of them could be satisfying. And that's why I think there's a much better likelihood that Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania ends well than poorly. I think it would take a monumental idiot to screw this up at this point, and I don't think Triple H is that idiot. If the old man was still here, mumbling his way through life and tearing up scripts every 5 seconds, as fans, we're fucked. But with Triple H, a little more faith, and I have that with him. Good to see you, C-Mac. What's up, man? Oh, yeah, or it could be a Jey Uso accident. Maybe he's out there, or maybe you still don't know what Jey's intentions are. Maybe he does something at Chamber, and Jey's stance still is not revealed. There's still unanswered questions with Jey. I feel like we need to get Jey to pick a side on Saturday, but if he doesn't, then they just stretch it out to TV to where everything will be set up. But you got to figure out, you still have to get to Owens and Owens and Sami versus the Usos. You still have to get there. So that's why a lot of this stuff could work to get there. But let's start predicting this pay-per-view. How about that? Yeah, and we got to set up a tag match at Mania, assuming they go there. And right now, it just seems like that's the likely scenario, because if it's not, what else do you do? I mean, you could do a singles match, but the titles are on the Usos right now. The tag team titles need to come off of them if Jay is going to do a singles thing or whatever, or eventually if you get to a Jay and Sami Zayn match, which I think we will probably get at some point. We might even get to a Jay and Roman Reigns match, who knows? But the Usos are the tag team champs. I don't know what else Owens and Sami would do if they're not working with those guys, So I think it's just got to be that at this point. Because otherwise, you're not going to leave Sami Zayn off of WrestleMania. There's no way. But anyway, WWE Elimination Chamber 2023 is live this Saturday. It's funny, whenever I do, pay-per-view predictions and reviews and stuff, I always go into my project folders from the previous year to look at, to pull out any logos I might want. And I couldn't find last year's Elimination Chamber review. I'm like, did I not do one? And I went and looked at the channel. I'm like, oh yeah, it was 1 year ago, the Elimination Chamber weekend, when I was told to put Bub down. That's when the vet told me to put him down. Of course, he went on to live all the way until right before Christmas. As a matter of fact, today is the 2-month anniversary of Bub passing away. So rest in peace to Bub. But it kind of jogged my memory a little bit. I'm like, what the hell was I doing last year at Elimination Chamber? I'm like, that's right. That was a rough weekend for me. I just found out I had to put my cat down. So I just completely checked myself out of everything wrestling that night. I don't even remember what happened at Elimination Chamber last year. Who won? Who was in it? Who was in the main event? I remember nothing about the show. So that explains why I wasn't here last year to talk about the Chamber. But we're here now. It's going to be a fun weekend. And like I said, we're going to react to the entire thing on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to that. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches set for this card. Granted, 2 of these matches are going to be very long, but it's only a 5-match card, which is kind of short, but I still think it's going to be good. Let's start with the mixed tag. I talked a lot about this on Monday, even changed my prediction a little bit changed the finish that I think they're going to do. And, of course, we are going to get Beth Phoenix and Edge, Mr. and Mrs. Copeland, taking on Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley in a mixed tag match. Now, finally, we're getting the payoff with Ripley and Beth Phoenix that they've been teasing since last year. And I thought this was going to end with a one-on-one match. I thought it would be Beth Phoenix against Rhea Ripley at the Chamber, putting Rhea over, giving her momentum, beating a legend on her way to WrestleMania to hopefully destroy the fuck out of Charlotte at WrestleMania. And I thought that's what they were going to do. But a lot of fans were pointing out it could be a mixed tag because Edge is probably going to retire this year. Good opportunity for him and Beth to get in there one final time together, especially in Canada, would be great for them. So I said, okay, great, mixed tag, no problem. My position remains the same. I think the finish should be Rhea Ripley pinning Beth Phoenix as the finish. That gives Ripley her momentum, legend-beating momentum going into WrestleMania, and it doesn't resolve Edge and Finn Balor, which means they can resolve their issue at WrestleMania, hopefully in a stipulation match. Hell in the Cell, I think we have pegged for Brock and Lashley, but you could always do a cell between these two, or maybe a ladder match or something else crazy at WrestleMania to blow off the issue between Edge and Finn Balor. So that's what I was thinking was going to happen. And then somebody in the chat kind of changed my mind a little bit. And they're like, no, it should be Edge pinning Balor. And at first I'm like, no way, no way. And then I thought about it. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That actually does make sense. Because for a couple of reasons. Number one, sure, it means that Ripley will not pin Beth Phoenix, unfortunately. And of course, Ripley will also lose in her match, but she won't be taking the pin. And I'm sure that match can be booked in a way to where it's not going to lessen Ripley's momentum going into WrestleMania. With Edge pinning Balor for the finish, that means you can do the WrestleMania match still at WrestleMania with Balor winning. And I think that makes much more sense, especially, and I keep going back to that promo Edge cut last summer when they were in Toronto for Raw. And when the show went off the air, he said to the Toronto crowd, he said, in a perfect world, I retire 1 year from now. In this very building, WWE is usually here sometime around SummerSlam time or after SummerSlam. They usually hit the Toronto area. If they're back here, then this would be where I would like my send-off to be. SummerSlam is in Detroit, which is not far at all from Toronto. So it could even be the night after SummerSlam or maybe a few weeks later, if that's still Edge's plan internally in his mind. And if he is going to be hanging up the boots for real, for good in 2023, I think Edge is the type of guy that would probably want to put over as many people as possible on his way out, and giving a WrestleMania victory to Finn Balor, a guy that I felt should have had a lot more success than he has had in WWE. And after that great start, winning the Universal title, first ever Universal Champion, gets hurt, and he never got back on track, at least with WWE creatively top of the card type of stuff. He was in and out with the Demon a couple of times, but still nothing was like it was looking how Balor was going to be when he first came in. So it would be great for him to get that win over Edge. Plus that match, Finn Balor and Edge, is a great looking match on paper. And I kind of agree. I forget who the person was that laid that out for me, but I agree. And that's the finish I'm going to predict here. I'm going to predict Beth and Edge. I almost said Beth and Edge Phoenix. Edge and Beth Phoenix, the Copelands, Mr. and Mrs. Cope. They're going to beat Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and I believe it will be Edge getting the pin on Balor. Then they will run it back, Balor, Edge, WrestleMania, and Balor will win the blow-off. That's how I believe it will happen. We'll see if that turns out to be right, or if my original idea of just Rhea pinning Beth Phoenix turns out to be what they do. But I kind of like the idea of Edge and Beth Phoenix winning here. Great moment for them. Great moment for their family. Probably the last time the two of them are going to be in the ring together ever again, and they're going to win a match together. It might very well be, Beth's last match that she ever does. And if it is, she gets to wrestle alongside her husband and she's victorious. You like to see that for the Copelands. And then Balor can win the big match at WrestleMania the following month. So it gives Beth, Edge a victory in Canada. And then we can give Balor and Ripley their moments at WrestleMania. So that's where I see that going. The Copelands getting the win over Ripley and Balor. By the way, speaking of Ripley, we should have mentioned this. Did you see how Rey Mysterio and Angie nearly ruined Dominic and Rhea Ripley's dinner? That's fucked up, man. That restaurant is somewhere here in San Diego, and I'm appalled that restaurant let Rey Mysterio and Angie in when they knew they had a reservation for Dominic and Rhea. Dominic had already pre-ordered his chicken tenders. They knew he was coming, and yet they sit his evil mother and father, who are just there obviously to troll him and to make fun of him for being with, a woman that's beneath him, because Dominic, of course, is, so big and strong and handsome. You wouldn't expect somebody kind of gross like Rhea Ripley to be with him. But Dominic's got a heart of gold, and, he sees the good in Rhea. He sees past, her unpleasant physical appearance for the woman that she is inside. And they make a great couple, and they're great people together. And Rhea takes care of Dominic, making sure that his food doesn't have anything spicy, like ketchup on it. And it's that type of love in a couple and in a relationship that really warms your heart. And I just can't believe Rey, this luchador asshole, who just goes out to fuck with his son, who all he's trying to do is live his life. That's all Dominic's trying to do, is live his life. He did hard time. He had to spend all that time in prison. He's trying to be out on the outside, making the world a better place for himself and everybody around him. And you have his parents that are constantly getting in the way of that. So Rey, Angie, y'all are a disgrace, a real disgrace. You know that? Anyway, let's move on to Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Brock and Bobby. Again, it was really helpful this past Monday to be talking to you guys in the chat, because I was kind of thinking out loud about these two, trying to figure out what they're going to do, why they're doing this match at Elimination Chamber, because I just thought this whole thing will be blown off at WrestleMania, and I think it still will be. So I was kind of thinking on Monday that maybe we would do a schmaz, a DQ, a count out, a no contest, or both guys just knock each other the fuck out, or something like that, and we just don't get a finish in the match. And then you book some sort of a stipulation at WrestleMania. Now, a fight pit would be great, some sort of MMA battle. I thought Hell in the Cell would be the best choice. I think Hell in the Cell, Brock and Lashley could be fun. Probably won't be bloody, but it would be cool if it was, and would look great on the marquee. It would look great. Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania, Hell in the Cell. So how do you get there? You got to do Brock and Lashley first here at Elimination Chamber. So I kind of thought, you could just do a double DQ or some sort of stupid ending that makes you have to do this one more time. And then a couple of you were pointing out that We've been seeing the Hurt Business being teased, coming back together, a couple of segments on Raw with people talking backstage. You see MVP and company talking in the background. Looks like maybe some recruiting going on. They have been teasing MVP and Bobby Lashley realigning, perhaps. So I asked you guys, I forgot what the record is with Lashley and Brock. They've wrestled twice, right? I think it was Rumble and Crown Jewel, and they're 1-1. So 1 win for Brock, 1 win for Lashley, right? So how do you blow off this angle? How do you complete this feud with one guy winning? And I think there's a way to do this to where Brock can essentially win the feud, but they still only have 2 wins apiece against each other. So having Lashley have help from the Hurt Business would be great. Because you got to remember, Lashley, I guess, is kind of the heel and Brock is the face. I'm not misrepresenting that, right? Is that what they're doing here? I think Brock is the face. I can never tell with these guys. So I feel like Brock and Lashley will have their match. Brock, because last couple times they've faced, Lashley has been pretty dominant on Brock as well, right? In the ring, but it seems like Brock has been dominating the segments, the interviews, and the brawls they've been having every time they fought each other, except for that contract signing last week. It feels like Brock has gotten the better of it. But in the matches, it felt like Lashley has been the more dominant one. They did the Brett Piper finish, didn't they? Is that the finish they did for Crown Jewel with Brock winning? And then I forgot what they did at the Rumble or whatever. So I think the way to do this is to have Bobby Lashley win this match by cheating. Some sort of unfair advantage. Hurt Business might interfere. Omos might interfere on Lashley's behalf. Something happens. Lashley puts down Brock. Then Adam Pearce on Monday, Brock is out there pissed. He wants a piece of Lashley. And Adam Pearce says, look, there's too many, you had Omos, you had MVP, you had the Hurt Business. Lashley had way too much help to get the job done. So we're going to make sure we have a winner for real this time and that nobody can get in this ring. And at WrestleMania, you two guys are going to face Hell in the Cell in order to keep the Hurt Business and any outside interference that Lashley might use to his advantage out of the match. So you book that. You have a great match, a kick-ass match where these guys kill each other. Brock Lesnar wins, puts Lashley down, F5, pins him, wins the match in a really hard-fought match, but he does win. And essentially, Brock would win the feud without beating Lashley more times than Lashley beat him. What a balance. I think that's probably the fairest way you can do it, because it's not like Lashley is in his early 30s here and he's the future and they should use a Brock Lesnar win here to really launch him. He's older than Brock, or as old as Brock. So both these guys are as old as I am. And there's really not a major reason to really have one over the other. And since they're both such badasses with, really, really impressive MMA resumes, and I would actually like to see this match in a shoot, to be honest. I think that would be the best way to do it, is to at least have the matches even. 2 wins for Brock, 2 wins for Lashley, even though it'll give the perception that Lesnar won the feud and he wins the blow-off. He still didn't beat Lashley any more times than Lashley beat him. And that also allows you a way, if you want to revisit this sometime down the road, you can. Maybe they do go one more after WrestleMania. Maybe after WrestleMania, when they're 2-2, they realize one more needs to happen. I kind of don't think it's necessary, but they might. So you don't know what they're going to do, but I'm going to predict Bobby Lashley to beat Brock Lesnar on Saturday. Women's Elimination Chamber. This is for the number 1 contender ship to Bianca Belair's Raw Women's title. She will defend her title at WrestleMania against the winner of this match that consists of Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Carmella, and Asuka. When you look at this field, I really see one name and one name only, and that's Asuka. Sure, you could do Raquel, but I would only do Raquel if Raquel was a heel. This smiling shit that she's doing, sure, she's very pretty and that's nice, but man, she is so big and strong. Make her a badass. She can still smile and be more of an ass kicker, but this constant smiling seemed more of like a Vince request that's still kind of lingering on. And I'm not telling her to not smile. She's got a great smile, but you don't just have to do that and do that only. And I really liked Raquel in NXT. I thought she was an ass kicker. She was gutting out these matches, very Gunther-like in her division. And I just thought she really, really had massive potential to be, a Kevin Nash type of wrestler in the women's division. And it seems like she's not the same person she was in NXT. She's still good, and they're not ruining her the way they have with some other NXT talents in the past. But I still think like she's not in killer mode yet, and so I don't see her winning here, because then you'd put smiling babyface Raquel against very happy babyface Bianca, and I don't think that's a good match. Asuka has recently had the gimmick change. She is a heel now, new music, new look, new makeup, kind of, tributing, her looks of the past. And she already has a great resume, multi-time champion. She's got to be the one. She's got to be the one, right? It's got to be Asuka against Bianca Belair. It's the only match that makes sense. Carmella winning, Nikki Cross winning, Liv Morgan, Natalya of all people. Natalya and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. Yeah, that's what we need. Maybe Natalya will win. I mean, maybe WWE will actually give her the win just out of respect and, the time that she spent on the roster, but she gets no reaction from the crowd whatsoever. If anything, I actually like Natalya more now than I have in the past, because I really like her look. I like that she's doing the hat, because her dad wore that same hat. I do like that a little bit, where some of her outfits in previous years have been so ridiculous. I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at, and I would have to adjust my sets sometimes. But how she's kind of been looking lately, the basic look, just the little tribute to her dad, I've really, really liked. But still, she's not winning this thing. Neither is Liv Morgan. And at this point, I feel like it's possible that Bianca Belair continues her title run going beyond WrestleMania. But if they want to give Asuka another run, she can be that, that dangerous heel, very dangerous, mist-spitting heel. And somebody mentioned it'd be cool if Great Muta could somehow come in and give some sort of a little torch passing to Asuka or something like that before he's completely retired. But I just don't see it being anybody other than Asuka, so I'm going to pick Asuka. The field looks too predictable on this, and I think for WrestleMania, that's the best match you really have for Bianca Belair, and then once we get that confirmed, we'll decide whether or not it's time for Bianca to drop the belt or not after holding it for a year. But Asuka being the one to dethrone Bianca in a heel fashion with some mist in the face and winning the title would be a lot of fun. But that would mean, hopefully anyway, that we would essentially be getting two heels winning the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships at Mania. Asuka beating Bianca and Ripley beating Charlotte. So we might not get both of those. We might actually get a Bianca Belair victory over Asuka. But in terms of the chamber, I just feel like it's got to be Asuka. The next match, I'm going to require some help because I don't know what to predict. I have no idea who's going to win, what direction they're going to go in, and what they're going to do. So you guys might help me with that. Leonardo's got Lashley and Lesnar ending at SummerSlam. You think it's going to go that long? I don't think it has to, but I certainly could see it happening with WWE for sure. Everything in my head kind of is culminating at WrestleMania, but every time we think something's going to end at WrestleMania, it usually doesn't. Every time we thought Brock and Roman were done, they weren't. So it would be silly of me to think that there's no chance for a Lesnar and Lashley match at SummerSlam. There definitely is. We will see. If they'll have Brett come out with Natalya when she makes her entrance. Help me out here. Has Brett ever been back in that building with WWE before? Like since he made up with the company and they had Bret Hart on TV a few times and they did Bret Appreciation Nights. I think he was a commissioner for a short time. Were any of those shows in Montreal? Has Bret Hart been to a show in that building under the WWE's umbrella since then? That's interesting. But Brett coming out with Natalya at Elimination Chamber, I don't see it just because I don't think Natalya is going to win. I think Natalya is going to be one of the first people eliminated probably, so I don't even know why Brett would be out there for that, especially if she's not winning. It would kind of just be pointless to bring him out there, but I'm never going to complain about seeing Bret Hart on WWE TV. Ever. Anywho, let's do the next match. It's the men's chamber for the United States title. We've got Austin Theory defending against Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford, Bronson Reed, and Damian Priest. So this one, I can't figure out, because are they setting this match up to either, number one, give Theory even more momentum going into his WrestleMania match, which we believe will be against John Cena, or is this match a way to get the belt off of Theory so his match with John Cena does not have to be for any championships, especially if John Cena wins? He's going to be going off and doing more movies. He does not have time to do his U.S. Open challenges anymore in WWE. So I can't figure out what they're doing here. I think it depends on that. Excuse me. So if they want Theory beltless for Cena, then that's what this match is for. Theory can, especially if he starts off or he's at some sort of big disadvantage and he winds up losing, they can always revisit this and have him regain his title down the road. So if it's not going to be Theory and the point of this match is to get the belt off of him, who does the belt go to? The next top contender in this match would be Rollins, but Rollins has also got another kind of attraction match at Mania. Theory's working with Cena. Rollins is going to be working with Logan Paul from where it stands right now, or how it looks right now. Now, Logan Paul is signed to the company, so a Logan Paul championship match isn't out of the question, but he already had a championship match. He had one against Roman Reigns, so maybe based on that performance, they're going to feel like that's good enough to give him a match for the U.S. title, or since Seth and Logan have already been teasing their beef, Seth wins the title. He's out on Raw. Logan confronts him, challenges him for the title, and it's Logan Paul and Seth Rollins for the United States title. I hate this phrase because I hate it when fans say it because I think it's overused, but I'm going to say it. I don't think they need the title. Can't stand when fans say that because they just say it to say it and they don't really analyze what it means a lot of times. But with Seth and Logan, I don't think you need a championship for that match. You can have a championship in that match. Sure, it's not against the rules or anything. I just don't think it's totally necessary if you did. So you could almost rule Seth out as well. But I'm kind of tired of seeing Seth Rollins lose. You know what I'm saying? And if he's going to go into WrestleMania, you would think that he's going to beat Logan Paul, but everybody has, Logan's already lost to Roman. They might want to give Logan a win. I don't know. And with Rollins being one of the top guys in the company right now, I don't know if he's going to take a loss here at the Chamber and one at WrestleMania after jobbing to Cody 75 times last year. Enough with the losing for Seth already. So I feel like Seth winning the U.S. title would be great. He could go into WrestleMania and successfully defend against Logan Paul. I think Seth should win here and WrestleMania, if you ask me. But that's not a guarantee because they could be just setting this whole thing up to have Theory continue his momentum. What about Johnny Gargano? Winning the U.S. title in the Chamber in a grueling match like this would be a great way to, kind of establish him on the main roster since his return. Montez Ford has got a big opportunity here. Montez is not going to win this thing, but he has an opportunity, I think, to have a good showing for himself. And I think this is his tryout. I think not even tryout. I think WWE's going to make him go singles regardless, but this is WWE's probably first look at him so they can kind of gauge what he's going to be like if he's a singles wrestler. Bronson Reed has been put over pretty huge on TV, but again, I don't necessarily feel him winning, but is he a guy you're really wanting to pin right now either? If he takes a pin in this Chamber, he's already not getting a ton of reaction on Raw. What's going to happen the next time he comes out for a squash match? Well, we've already seen him be pinned. So, because that's how Elimination Chamber works, right? You are eliminated. Everybody has to be pinned or submit to get out of this thing. So somebody's going to have to pin or submit Bronson Reed. Is that what we're going to do? So I don't know. And Damian Priest. Now, Priest, I could see him going down because we've seen him lose before or whatnot. So I think it's got to be Theory, Seth, or Bronson Reed winning this thing, but I honestly don't know. So I'm thinking about having some fun and predicting Bronson Reed to win just for fun. Just for fun. I don't know why. I think I can see it going a lot of ways. I would like to see Rollins win, but again, much like Bronson, if Rollins doesn't win this match, then who's going to pin him? Theory? Oh man, it's tough. What are you guys saying? Before I predict this, what are you guys thinking? Bronson Reed, a couple of you said this. Gargano. I saw some Garganos today, by the way. Some people were predicting him. Let's just think while I read this super chat from Longboard. Channel member Longboard, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that 5 Canadian. Bret Hart opened a bar in Calgary, hung his Winged Eagle belt in there a couple of days ago. I want that information. what's the name of the bar? Or I'm just going to look it up tonight. That's awesome. I need to get to Calgary and go in there and see that. That's very cool. Very cool. Well, we got some Bronson Reeds. Yeah, and Bronson doing the splash off the pod seems like a given. So maybe he could miss that. Splash off the pod, misses or something like that, or splash off the pod onto somebody. But the splash from that high takes a lot out of Bronson, and he hits the mat so hard he bounces right up into an A-town down or whatever that finisher of his is called. Something like that, maybe to get him out. So basically, it's going to be hard for me to see Theory, Rollins, or Bronson at this point take a pin. I can see Gargano, Montez, and Priest all eating pins here without too much problem. That doesn't seem too bad. But in what scenario do you beat Theory or Seth or Bronson Reed, and how do you do it? And you can't really have a lot of outside interference here. You can't have Logan Paul come out and cost Seth Rollins the match. Maybe you could. Maybe Logan could show up on the screen, or his music could play, or he'd be in the crowd fucking with Seth and he's distracted and it takes him out of the game and he loses, setting his match up with Logan at WrestleMania. Maybe that's a way to do it. And like I said, you could still book this thing in a way to where a victory here puts Theory in an excellent position to go ahead and face John Cena anyway. John Cena had at least one grueling Elimination Chamber victory, did he not? I think the same night Edge cashed in. So if Theory is trying to match Cena accomplishment for accomplishment, you were U.S. champ and made this title bigger. I've done the same thing. You won an Elimination Chamber. I've done the same thing. I don't know. Something like that if he's trying to go that angle with it. But if Theory were to win and outlast everybody with the momentum he already has and how WWE really seems like they're positioning him for big things, maybe he should just retain. And that would mean that he's going to face John Cena at WrestleMania. You could do a non-title match, but why would you? Probably put the title on the line. And does that mean Theory wins? Theory and Cena in general, title or no title, who wins that? Theory or Cena? I feel like they're setting Theory up to. Theory has had so many John Cena comparisons. Is he a guy that they feel like is ready to take those shoes, fill those shoes, and so he beats Cena at WrestleMania? Or is it going to be a learning experience for Theory? Yep, he's not quite here yet. The icon still owns you type of thing. But with his confidence level, his intensity, his aggression, the wins he's been getting lately, I feel like they could just be making that match with Cena to really smash over Theory and make a star out of him. So how do you get the belt off of him here, or do you keep the belt on him? I really don't know who to pick. I don't. I just don't. Hitman's Bar. Okay. Cool. There's a video of him putting the belt up. Maybe that's on Instagram or something. I should be looking that up. That's very cool. Thank you for the info on that, Longboard. That's awesome. You guys have to help me. Pick. I need to pick the best one. We've seen Bronson Reed. I just can't decide because we got to start talking about Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn now. Who are we going to pick? Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Gargano, Montez Ford, Bronson Reed, or Damian Priest? I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to predict this anyway. I'm going to predict Bronson Reed to win the Elimination Chamber and win the U.S. title, because here's why. I feel like Gunther is set to have a big Intercontinental title defense, right? That's going to be a big match one-on-one against Sheamus or whoever he faces. Hopefully that's not a multi-man thing. It might be, though. Shit. With Drew McIntyre, this might screw it up. It might be a multi-deal thing with McIntyre. I was thinking Gunther was going to have one-on-one. If Gunther is going to have one-on-one, then you could do a multi-man deal for the U.S. So if you had Bronson Reed win, you could just do Bronson and Gargano and Damian Priest and maybe somebody else in like a four-way or a ladder match or something like that for the U.S. title, a multi-man match, lots of guys involved, championship on the line, and then on the other title, it's just straight one-on-one. So if you were going to do that, then Bronson would be an excellent guy to be U.S. champ because he could just have a really fun match with some guys from his class, from his generation of stars, from the NXT era, and Priest and Gargano and maybe even Montez Ford or somebody else from that generation would be great in a multi-man U.S. title match to give them an opportunity to really shine on their own without a major megastar, legend, or icon in the match with them. It would just be guys that have only been on the roster for a couple of years. That might be fun, and that will free up Theory to face Cena and Seth to face Logan Paul. So let's go way out on that limb. Let's go out there on that limb until it damn near breaks off and pick Bronson Reed to win the Elimination Chamber. I don't know why I'm picking that, but if I turn out to be right, I'll look like a genius. So Bronson Reed is going to come away with the United States title at the Elimination Chamber. I think the fans would pop for that. Montreal's cool. I think Montreal would like a Bronson victory. So let's do that. Roman Reigns defending the undisputed Universal WWE Championship against Sami Zayn. This thing has got all kinds of potential. Lots of different ways you could do it. Lots of different ways you could book the finish. You could have Roman losing via DQ, not even having a real ending or finish to this match. You could have a lot of outside interference from Jey Uso. You know you're going to have a major storyline thing happen here, a major decision that Jey is going to have to make with all of this. And like I've maintained pretty much throughout the last few weeks, even though I tried to get cute with my Royal Rumble pick, and I was like, you know what? Maybe they're going to have Sami win the Rumble because that would make things really, really interesting. I don't see any way Roman Reigns does not leave Montreal with the championships, because based on how we've seen everything on TV play out, the last couple of angles and promos on TV, it just feels like if they were setting up to do a major swerve or a major change in creative plans, maybe it would be a little bit more obvious by now, but right now it feels like these plans that we've been hearing in our head of Cody and Roman Reigns for the title at Mania and Jey and Jimmy Uso versus Owens and Sami Zayn for the tag titles, that still seems like the direction they're going in. And I think Triple H is taking steps to make sure that the fans are happy with the booking of the angle to where they don't sabotage Cody. And I think that's what the Cody Heyman promo was about. And I think that's what the Cody Sami Zayn promo was about. And it was able to highlight the amazing promo skills of all of those men, all three of them, and how good Cody is and how great he can be in these situations and how he can really draw in the fans' emotion and get you interested in what he's saying. And it's just not nonsense. It was all so good. I listened to every word he said to Heyman, every word he said to Sami Zayn. It's been brilliantly done. And those two promos we're going to look back on as big factors in the success of the build of this WrestleMania. Without those, I don't know where a lot of fans would be standing right now in their feelings, like I said earlier. But I feel like many of us, even those who think it should be Sami or should be Cody, I haven't seen anybody too angry about this to where they're saying, you know, if it's not Cody and they don't put the belt on Sami Zayn or whatever, they're fucking morons or whatever. I think a lot of us, just regardless of what we think is the best thing for the storyline, we're all super interested to see where it goes because it's been so good up until this point. It's been very compelling. So, you know, with the Jey Uso thing hanging over all of our heads, not knowing where he stands, he's obviously going to have a big decision to make on Saturday. Kevin Owens is definitely going to show his face in Montreal. How can he not? So with all of those players, with all those moving parts, you're going to have some sort of a crazy finish here. We could get a dusty finish. I think there's a dusty finish potential here. I think there's also a dusty finish potential for Cody and Roman at WrestleMania if it turns out to be that. Also, another thing I got to praise WWE about is it doesn't look like they're overlooking Sami at the Chamber. And I think that was a lot of fans' problem at first. When Cody won, he starts talking about Roman. On SmackDown, Roman's talking about Cody. And WWE has done this before. They have looked past contenders, and sometimes that's unrealistic. So with Cody and Sami having that promo on Monday, that did a lot to help the fans. And plus you even see the WrestleMania graphic. It's Cody on one side and it's Roman or Sami on the other. It's not like they're just pretending this Elimination Chamber match isn't happening. So that is helping, I think, with fans keeping their cool about the whole situation, because the success of the Bloodline storyline is keeping everybody interested. And I think that's occupying more of their time than being angry or pissed about anything, So that's WWE's found themselves in a good position here. So I don't see them changing up the creative direction so drastically that we now are going to get Sami Zayn winning the championship on Saturday. How do you even do that? If you do that, okay, fine. Hypothetically, let's say he wins with help from Jey Uso. He turns on Roman, or Kevin Owens comes out and helps Sami Zayn win. Sami beats Roman. The roof would blow off the place. It would be one of the greatest moments in the history of wrestling, period. But it would leave you all disheveled now for WrestleMania. Sure, Cody and Sami would be a great match, but what is Roman going to do? You think Roman's going to take this lying down? You think Roman's going to be cool with this? He's going to say, no, fuck no. At the very least, I'm in this match too. So then you're going to get Cody, Sami, and Roman for the championship in a triple threat with Sami defending against the two of them. Because there's no way Roman loses and then doesn't work Mania? And if he does work Mania, it's not like he's going to be working the undercard. What's he going to do? Go challenge Damian Priest to a match? No, he's going to be working in the main event of WrestleMania. So that just seems unlikely. As great as it would be, it just seems unlikely based on the creative direction. So if Roman is going to win, how do you do it? Or let me rephrase that. If Roman is going to walk out of Elimination Chamber with the championships, how does he do that? I do think Roman could lose via DQ. I definitely think that's possible, but I think it would be better for heel heat if he won somehow. And like I said earlier, I kind of set up a scenario earlier on at the beginning of the podcast here, a potential finish, because we know Jey has a decision to make. Jey is still conflicted. He told his brother Jimmy he doesn't know if he's in or out of the bloodline, but he was there to honor his obligations with his brother. He showed up very late, but he did get there, coming through the crowd and successfully defending the tags with Jimmy. Then he bumps into Sami in the parking garage where Sami thanks him, and Jey, you can see Jey still has love for Sami. He gave him the fist bump. He walked out on the bloodline at the Royal Rumble. He's not faking all of this. So like I said earlier, this either has to be a big ruse by Jey, which if it is, why would he do that? Why would he throw off his own bloodline members unless this whole thing is just to throw off the fans or throw off Sami and there's some, there's a bigger plan at play here? I don't really see that. It feels like the emotion and the conflict within Jey is genuine. So like I said earlier, Jey could find himself in a position here where he helps out who he needs to help out. Basically, he makes his decision, but he does so in a way without physically harming Sami Zayn. So if Sami has Roman down, let's say by this point, Owens has already come out there. We've already had one ref bump. Jey obviously is out there. Solo might be there. I don't remember if Heyman instructed all of them to stay home or just the Usos. But Solo might not be there either, which is probably good. It'll just have the key components here. And then Jey is out there. You get Kevin Owens out there. Maybe he whacks Roman with a chair, hits Roman with a stunner, or something like that. And Sami Zayn has got the pin on Roman. The referee, of course, is unconscious, but there's another referee running to the ring. He runs in the ring to count 1, 2, and before he can count 3, the referee is super kicked by Jey Uso. Jey Uso stops the count, and then he just walks away, kind of like he did at the Royal Rumble. Like he made his choice, but he's not happy about it. He made his choice, but he still made that choice without having to physically hurt Sami Zayn. He didn't kick Sami. He didn't kick Roman. He kicked the ref. He made his decision that way. He walks away saying, hey, that's all I'm going to do for you, cuz you're on your own now. I stopped the 3 count. If you want to beat Sami, you're going to have to beat him on your own. And then, of course, Roman recovers, spear to Sami, wins, retains the title, does so in large part because of Jey Uso, but still doesn't truly know where Jey stands, and Jey, obviously based on his actions, is still very conflicted in the whole thing. So that would be an excellent way to do it, to carry things over to TV, to where Sami then confronts Jey on TV. Yeah, I know you didn't want to hurt me, but you still did. You took my championship away from you, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and take yours away from you instead. And then you get the challenge, Owens and Sami Zayn against the Usos at WrestleMania. And everybody should be happy. Now, I think you could even go one better. Now, let's say a scenario like that plays out, where Jey cost Sami Zayn the title. Many of us have been predicting that from the beginning. By the way, I don't want to hear anybody on Twitter, if Jay costs Sami Zayn the championship, please, for the love of God, don't be like, called it. We all called it. Everybody called it. So it doesn't make you special. So that's what we all think is going to happen, right? Jey Uso costs Sami Zayn the match somehow. Sami Zayn loses in large part due to whatever decision it is that Jey Uso makes. So if that's what happens and Roman leaves Montreal with the championship, I think one extra little way WWE could make that better. Because like I said, I don't think this is the same as Daniel Bryan in 2015. I don't think the fans are doing to Cody what they're doing to Batista. The fans like Cody. Cody has been cutting excellent promos. He's been making this situation very interesting himself to where he hasn't, pissed the fans off, or the fans don't want anything to do with him and they want Sami. It's not like that. It's not at all like that. So I think one extra way to make this okay for everybody is maybe on Monday night after the Elimination Chamber. By the way, we're going to live react to Monday's Raw as well, because I think there could be a big angle going down. And plus, it's the first Monday heading into WrestleMania season. Hopefully, we're going to get the announcement of a Hall of Fame headliner, which will probably be Batista. And we're going to have to hear the fallout and see the fallout of the chamber matches and, of course, what happens with Roman and Sami. So let's say Roman wins with a whole bunch of shit. Sami has the match won, but he's screwed over. Roman is champion, but now Sami's anger is directed more at the Usos, and that's where his focus is. He comes out on Raw, calls out Cody. Or I'm sorry, maybe Cody is out there. I think he already did that. He called out Cody last week. Cody's in the ring. Sami comes out, confronts Cody, and basically gives him his blessing. Gives him his blessing to take down the tribal chief. You saw what happened to me last night. Me and Kevin Owens, we're going to be going after the tag team titles. We're going to take out the Usos. We'll take care of them. You take care of Roman Reigns. This has to end. The Bloodline's reign of terror has been too much. They've screwed over, he'll point, my friend Kevin Owens a couple of times out of championship matches. Roman has won so many matches that he should have lost. He's been beaten, and yet time after time, the Bloodline continues to win. They continue to rule, and they continue to dominate over everybody, and enough is enough. It is time to fully destroy the Bloodline. Cody said himself just a couple of weeks ago, there was cracks for the first time in the armor of the Bloodline. It's time to shatter it. And he almost gives Cody a pep talk, gives him his blessing. Remember at WrestleMania 9 when Brett has got the salt in his eyes and he's telling Hogan to go? Go in there, kick his fucking ass. It's kind of like that. Sami can tell Cody, you got my blessing. I just ask one thing of you. After you beat Roman Reigns for the title, you give me a title shot. And think of this. Think of Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Universal Championship match, WWE Undisputed Universal Championship main event, London, Money in the Bank. You think that crowd might be a little bit enthusiastic for that match? Whew, what an atmosphere. Imagine if you did a one-night cash-in. What if Roman Reigns pulls a Brock Lesnar? Excuse me for coughing in the mic. That was rude. Roman Reigns pulls a Brock Lesnar, wins Money in the Bank, comes in and cashes in and wins back the titles in the Cody and Sami main event of Money in the Bank. That could be fun. So if Sami were to come out on Raw and ask Cody and give him his blessing to take down Roman but request a title shot, you would think Sami would say, give me the first title shot, but maybe not. Maybe you got to do Cody and Roman again, because Roman's not going to have a 2-year-long run, drop the belts, and then go away. He's going to probably want to win them back, maybe before he doesn't, and then maybe he takes a break or something like that. But if you can prolong Sami and Cody until Money in the Bank, which I believe is July, that's kind of far. Might be hard to get it, to prolong it to that far, but if you could, oh my God, I cannot think of a better building, a better group of fans for that particular match than London. That would be so much fun. And plus, if you put that on last, the threat of a one-night cash-in would just be immense and would be a lot of fun. So I think Roman Reigns, I got to predict an actual winner here. So I'm tempted to predict a disqualification. I'm tempted to predict Sami winning via DQ. I really, really want to, but I don't know. I think Roman has got to win just to add to the anger of wanting to see him lose. They can probably accomplish that either way. Even if he lost via DQ, he'd still be champion, and that would effectively, be the same with the fans. They would still be pissed and they would still say enough is enough. But if he were to win again and you hear his music play again and another pay-per-view ends again with the flowers and the titles and Heyman and, that whole thing, the fans are, in a lot of ways, that will help Cody. For Roman to win here, for Roman to be victorious over Sami, obviously with Jay's help, however they book it, whatever 9 different ways they choose to go, whatever one they decide, and Roman wins, that I think essentially will help Cody, because fans by that point, you already have a lot of fans that just simply cannot physically handle a long title run. They just don't have it in them. They're allergic to it or something. So they just can't handle that in general. So even though Roman is doing good work, you still have a large portion of the fan base that is sick of him being champion, just because they were never alive for long championships. They're used to championships being short, and anything other than that freaks them out. So you already have a big portion of the audience that's tired of him. If you give him one more win, Roman's never going to return to the hate that he had before, that him and Cena had. It's not the same type of hate. But I still think he's going to get heat, good heat, if he can win and he can beat Sami Zayn in a shady way, Montreal Screwjob 2 style, and he then goes into WrestleMania. Fans are now just fed up. They're tired of it. So that is going to make a Cody victory over Roman that much more special. Maybe get, that extra crowd pop. And I'm going to be there to see it, and it's going to be really interesting. So I feel like Roman Reigns will beat Sami Zayn and retain the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. That's my pick. How they do it, what the exact finish is, I don't know. We have predicted some exact finishes here. We predicted Edge pinning Finn Balor in the mixed tag, which will allow Balor to have his match and hopefully win against Edge at WrestleMania. We've got Lashley winning against Brock with help from the Hurt Business. That way they can do the blow off at Mania with Brock winning. And we have the main event, which all we know is Jey Uso and Kevin Owens should be major factors. Even though we have not seen or heard from Kevin Owens since the Royal Rumble, with this show being in Montreal, I don't know how he's not there. How's he not there? So if we go through the entire show of Elimination Chamber and we see no Kevin Owens, what the fuck? So he's got to be there. He's got to be there. Jay's got to be there. And at the end, Roman is going to retain. Now, what is the likelihood? What do you think the chances are? Is there any chance at all that we get the ultimate swerve of all swerves here, and they are actually going to belt up Sami Zayn, and we're either going to get Sami and Cody, or we're going to get a triple threat? Like, what percentage chance do you think? I'd go like 3% chance at the most, but some people feel like that could still happen. And the good news is we're going to watch that happen together. I got a bunch of super chats to answer, so let me get over here and knock those out. By the way, would love a thumbs up, smash on the like button if you guys don't mind. See what you guys have to say in the chat about some of the shit I've been mumbling about. Chris Miner, good to see you. 5 months you've been a member, man. Hope the crowd is hot like in your house, Canadian Stampede. The crowd in Montreal is going to be hot. I have full confidence in Montreal. I have full confidence in London. I have full confidence in Chicago. There's a lot of cities around the world that you just know are coming, and they're not playing games. And I'm ready for Saturday. Spaz Phoenix, man, appreciate that $20 from you as well. Good to see you. Go subscribe to Spaz's YouTube channel, and he might be having a plug for me. I think he does. Sup, Greg and chat. Happy Chamber weekend. Cheap plug. Chamber preview goes live tomorrow at 10 a.m., along with a few more movie trailer reactions. Spaz podcast on YouTube, Spotify, The Eye of Tunes, and Rumble. Right on. Go show Spaz Phoenix some love and catch his Chamber preview. See how his predictions match up to mine. And appreciate that a lot, Spaz. As always, good to see you. Juliet above you says, I thought Monday did a good job of addressing the potential elements, or elephants maybe, in the room. That segment was fire. I loved that Cody and Sami promo. It was so good. Like I said, they just, it was absolute gold, and they sold me on WrestleMania. They made it okay for me. And I think that's what I have been talking about for so long. I said Triple H is going to make it okay for us. We're not going to have the same type of frustrations that we have had in other years, where we really feel like WWE is purposely doing the opposite of what they should be doing. WWE is taking a plan that they've got in place and making the journey to get there makes sense. And that's what they've done. And those last 2 Mondays have been critical, pivotal promos by Cody, Heyman, and Sami. Really good stuff. Yo, good to see you, Nikita. Right on. Glad you're here as well. It's all right, you're being late. Channel members are allowed to be late. If you're a channel member, we don't. If you're not a channel member, we don't tolerate tardiness. But the channel members can kind of do whatever they want. So if you decide to be late to these streams, you got to be a member. Otherwise, we're going to have to block you. We're going to lock the door so you can't get in. You can't be late for these things, man. You got to take this shit seriously. You know, it's wrestling. It's very, very serious. Shell Shock 29. KO and Sami take out the Usos. Cody takes out Roman. Who goes after Solo? You know what I would like to see? I don't know how far. They're on the same brand, but I don't know how far away we are from getting there. Gunther and Solo. Imagine that match. Gunther and Solo. Could Roman Reigns want to do the opposite? So maybe going into WrestleMania, Roman Reigns says, you know, I want to make the bloodline stronger than ever. Cody says there's cracks in the armor. Cody says there's cracks in our foundation. We're going to show them it's the exact opposite. The Usos are going to beat Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and retain their titles. I'm going to smash Cody and keep my titles. And I'm going to send Solo to take down Gunther. And when this is all done, we're going to have all the belts. Oh, by the way, here's Naomi to maybe attack Charlotte. No, we want Rhea Ripley to win the title. So that's not going to happen. Maybe after WrestleMania, Naomi comes in. But maybe they send Solo after Gunther to win the IC, and then they all wind up losing or something like that. But I don't know at this point who goes after Solo and who's going to emerge if Sami and Owens are going to get any more help in this situation. I don't know. I don't really know. But I feel like Solo has got to have some sort of an influence on Chamber or WrestleMania or something. We will see. Spaz Phoenix shooting me 5 more. Thanks, dude. The whole Bloodline versus KO, Sami, Cody, and Rock at SummerSlam. Holy crap, bringing the Rock into Motown. Is Rock going to go to Ford Field? And that would be an interesting 4 or 8-man tag, I suppose. The entire Bloodline. You got a long way to get to SummerSlam. That's going to be one heck of a main event. I don't know if you put that much star power and that many championships all stockpiled in one match, but they haven't done something like that in a while for SummerSlam, so it could be fun. I'm not necessarily against it, that's for sure. I'm open to anything. Zelius Ward, good to see you. Appreciate that $10 from you as well. Though I love AEW, I've been watching WWE per your recommendation a while back. The Sami Reigns program is great stuff. I'm hyped to go to WrestleMania and Raw the day after. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I don't have plans to attend Raw. I don't even know where Raw is. Is it at Staples? Probably is. Or is it a crypto.com arena or whatever? I will be at WrestleMania. Dude, if you want to meet up, we will do that. I still am got to get on the ball here and actually maybe organize an actual meeting point. But in terms of actually being at the show, I'll be looking at DMs all day. So if we're all in the stadium, we'll meet up. We'll shake hands, fist bump, take a picture, all of that stuff. Definitely planning on meeting a lot of people at the show, but might even be able to organize a meetup aside from that as well. But thank you again for that very awesome super chat. 1% of chance of Sami winning. Okay. Drew versus Solo, maybe. Yeah, I would like that, Drew versus Solo, because a lot of people have been saying McIntyre, if I've been hearing that right, McIntyre is going to probably be involved with the IC championship match, because otherwise, what is he going to do? I really liked the idea of Gunther and Sheamus one-on-one and Sheamus getting that win. But they might want to protect Gunther. So if you can you imagine Drew McIntyre being added into a match to protect someone else? But if McIntyre gets in there, since Sheamus put McIntyre over when McIntyre was champion, maybe in this triple threat, Sheamus can bro kick him, and pin McIntyre to win the Intercontinental title. He gets the WrestleMania moment, gets to pin his buddy, gets a little win back from the jobs he was doing for him when Drew was WWE champion. And Gunther doesn't have to lose. Sheamus checks a big one off the box, wins the Intercontinental title, and does it at WrestleMania, of all places, winning a championship he's never won before. And Gunther can even then maybe win the belt back from him in another rematch down the road, since he never really did lose in the triple threat. That could be one way to do it. But I kind of, even as much as I like Gunther, I don't necessarily think he'd be harmed by having a banger with Sheamus and losing. Sheamus at this point is a well-respected veteran, and there's no shame in losing to a boss like Sheamus, even if you are Gunther. So it's a loss that I think Gunther can survive. Ilya Dragunov beat him, didn't he? And he's half his size. So I think it's perfectly fine if Gunther were to take a clean loss like that one-on-one, but maybe it could be a triple threat. Otherwise, I don't know what Drew is going to do unless he just has a flat-out one-on-one match with Solo. It's very possible. 5%. Al is given the swerve percentage. Okay, 5%. I can live with that. 5% might be fun. Off Leather Wings, thanks for the $5. Hey, Greg, haven't been around for a Saturday stream in a while. Hope all is well. Usually listening on Spotify these days. Right on. That way you have to look at my ugly ass. Just have me in your earpiece. I feel bad I just put up the podcast for fun on all the streaming sites or on all the podcast sites, but I do feel bad for people who listen in podcast form and all you're doing is hearing me read super chats and shit. So I'm sure you're doing a lot of fast forwarding and that's perfectly fine. But I just wanted the audio available to you. So I apologize for the pauses, the super chats, the coughs, all that stuff that you're probably dealing with. I don't edit my podcasts before putting them out. I just send the audio out the way we recorded it. So unfortunately, I just don't have the time to edit it down and make it a little bit more enjoyable. So anybody that is a fan or listener of the show on the podcast, thank you for listening for all these years. I think we've been on the podcast sites now for 8 years. I think I did it in 2015 was when I created the website and started, created the RSS feed and all that stuff. So it's been awesome. Thanks for that, Off Leather Wings. I appreciate it. Any other ideas for WrestleMania? Any other ideas for Elimination Chamber? Do you guys agree with my assessments? How off am I? Just to recap, Beth Phoenix, Edge over Balor and Ripley, Lashley over Brock, Asuka winning the Women's Chamber, Bronson Reed winning the Men's Chamber, and Roman Reigns beating Sami Zayn. Obviously, with a lot of help, Jey Uso is going to be out there. Kevin Owens is going to be out there. Paul Heyman is going to be out there. A lot of things are going to be happening. But in the end, I think it's going to be Roman. And it should be fun to see how that goes. Juliet, no, unfortunately, no. We are not going to be here for a watch-along on Sunday because it is my beautiful fiance's birthday, and we've got a big day planned. So there will be no WrestleMania watch-along this Sunday, but they will resume the following Sunday, and we should be able to do those every Sunday up until WrestleMania. We will watch a classic WrestleMania on Sunday. So to make up for no watch-along on Sunday, we're going to live react to Monday's Raw because Monday's Raw could have some interesting things go down. It's going to have the fallout to Elimination Chamber, and it's going to be the first Raw officially on the road to WrestleMania. We could also get a Hall of Fame announcement that night, probably Batista, maybe even somebody else. And I think we're going to get a lot of things happening. So unfortunately, last week was Super Bowl, so we weren't here. And then this week I have plans. But then after that, we'll be here every Sunday, starting 1 week from this Sunday. So basically, you get me every other day between now and Monday. You get me today, Saturday, and then Monday. So keep that in mind. I better get out of here now because I do have to go to work this evening and put a couple of hours in there. It was Valentine's Day the other day. Got our asses kicked, so I got to go in and put in a couple of hours at the restaurant, and then I just get to come home and chill. So you guys have an excellent rest of your Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. Please, once again, smash that thumbs up button out the door. If you're hanging out in here and you're not a subscriber, please do that as well. And remember, the link to Saturday's Elimination Chamber watch-along and review is in the description, and it's also up on the channel. So make sure you save that and get ready for a real fun weekend of